Molly Weasley talking on the phone during the filming of the series. What happened? An 80s cell phone used by Mrs. Weasley.
There's a Labubu in Ginny's backpack. What's going on, man? Calm down. Take a breath. Let's figure out everything that happened. You thought the Harry Potter series photos from yesterday's shoot were over, right? You were wrong. Remember what I said. Whenever there's a shoot, the next day there are photos. The photographers go there on the day and sell them to the newspapers, which publish them the next day, right in the first news of the day. And today, my friends, no less than 43 photos came out in the Daily Mail. These photos show Fred, George, and Molly Weasley in costume, displaying their outfits. Enough stalling. Let's review each one and comment. Let's go! If you're excited for the Harry Potter series, subscribe to this channel. Here, you'll stay up to date with everything. You'll know everything that's going on here. Analysis, commentary, everything. News, updates, everything here. The first image I want to show is this one of Mrs. Weasley, of Catherine, the actress now in character here, wearing Mrs. Weasley's clothes. Look! She's wearing a colorful coat that really looks like it was made by her. It has some stitching. It looks like it's all patched up. There's blue, red, gray, green. It's very colorful. She's carrying a small brown leather bag there, hanging on her side. Also very characteristic of that time.
Although, you know, a bag is one of those things. You can use it in any era.
No matter the year, the time, or the outfit you pair it with.
Okay, but there are bags with a style that's more characteristic of the era, and this is one of them. And here, look. She's wearing a skirt. She's got a belt. A skirt that comes up to about her belly button.
The skirt starts off blue, then goes to brown, a white stripe, a red stripe, with two little yellow stripes inside those red stripes along the edges.
And down below, there are some colored triangles. One yellow, one white, one green.
It's a very flashy outfit. She's also wearing dangling earrings, right? Pendants. And in the scenes where she appears, of course, there are some extras in the background, muggles, walking past her. From her expression, she's like, "Come on, guys, let's go, kids," while holding a brown handkerchief. Pay close attention to that handkerchief, because the photographer who took this picture made a mistake. He made a mistake in the caption he wrote. This often causes misunderstandings, and I'll explain. See. The photo's caption says, "The actress gave a very lively performance during a scene." Here she is calling.
And you can see the contrast between the Weasleys' clothes and the Muggles' clothes.
Technically, they're dressing in disguise. But wizards have this thing where they think they're blending in. And they're wearing these really flashy clothes, right? Here, look, in this picture of Molly, man, the caption says, "Later, Catherine's character appeared talking on a cell phone from the 1980s.
Man, when I read that, I thought, what? A cell phone? Mrs. Weasley with an 80s cell phone? Wait a second.
But looking closer, I don't know if I'm wrong. Looking closer, she seems to be moving her hair from her face and holding her handkerchief.
She's holding that brown handkerchief there. It looks like she's just moving it like this and kind of holding it, you know?
A cell phone from the 80s is quite large, so you should see its shape here, unless it's hidden by that handkerchief.
So what if she does have a cell phone? Which I think is very unlikely. Maybe it's her way of disguising herself, since they're among the Muggles.
Maybe she'll just pretend to talk on it or something. But I think it's just a handkerchief in her hand.
I think it's just the handkerchief and her fixing her hair. The photographer may have gotten carried away. I could be wrong. There's definitely always that possibility, but I don't think that's the case. Here's an image of Mrs. Weasley, the actress, wearing a black coat over her costume, right? She was wearing slippers here. She took off her shoes to be more comfortable. It was during a break between scenes, but nothing special to comment on in this photo. It's just a break, really, and she's there talking to an employee. Here you can see her earring better, which has a round pendant, right?
This is Mrs. Weasley's characterization, and by her expressions, you can see she was trying to be subtle there. Blending in with Muggles, she calls her children to cross the platform, right?
She gives a "come here" gesture. She gives a little smile, kind of like, you know that mom smile? When she wants to give us a sign, there's no use saying no. Every mom has that intuition and those abilities. It's that look like, "We'll talk at home, so you don't get a pinch," or something like that. Every mom has this skin here. And then pictures of Fred and Jorge came out too, in costume. Look, Fred and Jorge, big smiles on their faces, man. They're really good as twins, and there's their outfits. The first thing that caught my attention, it's not identical. It's not identical. And that's really cool.
Because it gives them a touch of personality, you know? It gives them an individual touch of personality. Even though we know they're identical, we still have that perception. They're practically one. We always say Fred and Jorge. There's no way to talk about them separately.
But it's cool that they wear different clothes because it gives each of them a bit more personality.
And so, I think it's time for us to learn how to tell Fred and Jorge apart. Because in the movies, I can't make that distinction.
I don't think that's the only reason. It's not just to tell them apart. I think they'll joke around with their mom saying, "Come on, seriously, woman.
I'm Fred, not him. Really, woman? Yet you claim you're our mother."
That joke still exists even if they're in different clothes, since they look the same, right? They're identical. So regardless of the clothes, they can make that little joke.
Discussing their outfits. I can't tell Fred from George, so I'll refer to them as the first and second twin. The first twin is on the left.
He's wearing a brown jacket, and underneath that jacket, I don't know if it's a vest or a cardigan. It looks like a vest.
And it's also knitted or crocheted, because yesterday I said it was knitted and someone corrected me, saying it was crocheted.
To be honest, I even apologize. I have no idea what the difference is between knitting and crocheting. To me, they're the same thing, even though now I know they're not the same thing.
But don't ask me to tell the difference yet, but I'll figure it out.
He's wearing a small orange vest with green and yellow shades and a dark gray-black shirt underneath.
It's a faded black. He's also wearing a small brown belt with a gold buckle. The pants are black.
Now, the other twin on the right side, who we still don't know if it's Fred or George,
he's wearing a little jacket. It's a bit longer than usual. It goes a little further down.
It has a leather-like appearance, kind of like faux leather, and it's burgundy.
Man, I thought it was super stylish, okay? I thought it was really stylish.
And just like the other brother, he's wearing a cardigan, a knitted vest too.
Or crochet, flowery, with lots of little flowers.
There you can see the little red flowers with small green leaves. And the color of the clothing itself is a darker green.
Underneath, he's wearing a red shirt, and his hair is really red, right? They have kind of curly hair.
Look how they're smiling in this photo, huh?
In the back, there's an extra, and behind them, there's an older man with gray hair, glasses, a plaid shirt, and a jacket.
And then we have more photos here. You can see a microphone. You can see the production crew.
You can see Mrs. Weasley beside Fred and George. This photo is great. You can see Ginny with Fred and George, and the twins' outfits are clearer here. Oh, and the pants of the one wearing the maroonish jacket are striped. They're dark gray, with some really thin white stripes.
And then there's Ginny, right? She's in the same outfit we described yesterday. Colorful crochet, orange overall, pumpkin shade, red sandals, and yellow socks. And they're pushing the cart with big suitcases. Look at that.
I know some may find it boring that I always mention what people are wearing, but I like to remind you.
There are people who follow the leaky cauldron who are blind or have limited vision.
So, I like to make this description for those people too, alright?
A lot of people think, wow, look, he's just filling time to make the video longer. That's not it.
I don't even like making the video too long or dragging things out here.
Check out the big suitcases. There's a big light brown suitcase. And on top of that one, there's another big green suitcase with brown details. Gina is beside Fred and George. There are muggles there, right? There's a muggle lady wearing kind of formal clothes. A skirt, shoes, and a gray blazer with some details. Like some details I don't know the name of. Anyone here knows about fashion? It looks kind of checkered, but I think it's checkered, really small. Behind her, there's an older man in a floral suit and some more muggles in the background. There's a picture of Gina alone with the same big suitcase, her back turned. And then there are pictures of Gina and Ron, them arriving. And can you see that Gina is here with the backpack? As I said in the last video, it was likely the actress's own backpack. And today, that's only confirmed with the higher quality photos, right? Because there's a Labubu hanging on the backpack. I noticed some people already asked, why is there a Labubu on the backpack? Guys, come on, the Labubu belongs to the girl. It's personal. It's not like it's part of the show. Look at all the care they're taking.
They closed off a street, filled it with cars from the 90s, put up a Nirvana poster.
Do you really think they'd put a Labubu in the girl's backpack? Come on, my friend. Let's think about it, right? Let's consider this. The actor playing Ron is holding a long jacket, which later appears in the scene. There's a photo of him wearing it.
Look, Alistair Stout, or Stout. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. He's wearing that blue jacket on top. It goes down to about his knees. This is like an overcoat, and over almost everything since it covers nearly everything, not quite all the way down. The little plaid shirt he's wearing there and that little jacket in the scene. That's what he's wearing. And then there are some clueless extras walking by. Everything is really set in the 90s, guys. Everything is really set in the 90s. One thing people pointed out, right? Wow, Molly looks really young. It's just that we get this impression because movies have spoiled us, guys. In the movies, most of the characters were played by older actors. Sometimes twice the age the characters were supposed to be.
Mrs. Weasley, for example, in the first book is between 41 and 42 years old.
This actress is 47, making her about the right age. Maybe even a bit older than the character.
But times are different now, right? Back then, younger people looked much older.
I don't know what the reason is. If it's because quality of life has improved, if things have progressed, but it's noticeable. You even see those Silvio Santos dating shows. The guys would say, I'm 30, but looked 50. Bald, big mustaches. The women, I'm 19. You'd look and say, no way, no way. The hairstyles from back then, that whole thing, it made them look way older.
So people look younger these days. Maybe that's the case here.
But the actress is the right age. The twins are a little older.
Fred and Jorge are 13 in the first book, and will soon turn 14 since their birthday is in April, right?
And here, this scene takes place in September, so next April, they'll turn 14. The twins, the actors, are 16. They're a bit older. Mrs. Weasley, one detail. Mrs. Weasley also isn't chubby, as she's described in the books.
In the books, she's short and chubby, but not here.
And that's also happening with the Dursleys in the series. I don't know if they don't want to reduce the characters to traits like they're fat, so people don't just sum them up that way. In the books, the Dursleys are really emphasized. It's used a lot against the Dursleys. In the description, how they were fat. Dudley, how he looked like a pig. Anyway, it's used a lot, really a lot. But that's just the narration in the book describing it. Harry doesn't directly insult Dudley for being fat.
It's the narrator saying what he thinks about it, right? He looked like a pig, and so on anyway.
But in the series, they didn't really care about that. About making them really fat here. They didn't do that. They changed it up a bit, it seems, you know? The Dursleys themselves. Walter isn't, he's a bit chubby, right? Like, a little chubby, with a bit of a belly. But it's nothing like it was in the movies, for example, where the actor who played Walter was really fat. Petunia also isn't as skinny as she's described in the books. In the series, in the movies, she was too, right? She's thin, but not so skinny that you look at her and say, my God, she's so skinny.
One detail. In the movies, the actress playing Mrs. Weasley wore chest padding, right?
To make it look that big. Anyway, several photos of them in character surfaced. That's Fred and George. One standing with arms crossed, waiting. See, right there. There are backpacks in the cart that seem to belong to Fred and George. Besides the trunk, there's also a backpack. This backpack here, look, in a kind of cream color, and the other one in a kind of wine color. See, they use backpacks at Hogwarts. The trunk just holds their things for the year, right? There's a lot in there. Clothes, supplies, plus the small backpack they use between classes. You could see much better the Chudley cannon shirt that Ron is wearing. There are 2 crossed cannons firing, with smoke coming out, and the logo, right? Chudley cannons, Chudley cannons. And then there's a date there, which I believe is the founding year.
1614, if I'm right. Let me check. Yes, that's their founding year.
But it looks like the date there is 16-something. 1614. Something like that. Then we have a photo of the whole group. Fred, Jorge, Gina, and Ron talking to a lady from the crew. There, Gina and Ron walking closer together.
A photo of Fred or Jorge looking at Mrs. Weasley, and another of Ron pushing the cart.
He's gaining momentum and moving forward, you know? Ron here, The quality is pretty bad like this.
Imagine the photographer had to push it. A really strong zoom. And these are the images that came out. These are the images that came out.
In short, a very colorful look, very 90s, very much like the Weasley family. Everything looks very handmade. Clothes, as Draco would say. Secondhand robes. It's very characteristic, and I didn't mention this in yesterday's video.
Look, Ron's shirt pocket is patched. It looks like it's made from another fabric, see? It seems to be the shirt's inside, since the collar has the same detail, see?
Look at that. Really cool. Details. These are really cool little details. Man, I'm so excited for this series.
I'm so excited for this series.
Wow. Just imagine the day the first trailer for this series comes out, my friends. Imagine the day the first trailer for this series comes out. Man, this photo of Mrs. Weasley holding the thing here, the caption really freaked me out. Because I was like, man, didn't I get, wow, mine? I never think they ruined the series, you know? I always try to understand things, and honestly, it really looks like she's on a cell phone. If you check the other photos, it's clearly a small handkerchief in her hand, so she probably just fixed it here. But I was like, do you think she'll be pretending? In this scene, she could even act like it's a cell phone. It's just that, back then, I'm not sure, right?
In Brazil, only wealthy people had cell phones, right? I'm not sure how it was elsewhere,
but I also believe so, because it was something new, a new technology, right? So it was a sign of someone who had money, right? Man, I don't know if she made that move to pretend she was talking on the phone just to play it cool, you know? They're getting on the platform full of suckers, or maybe she was just fixing her hair. Would it make sense if she was pretending? It does. Mainly since to the suckers, it makes no sense. Having a cell phone would attract more attention, since it was a high society status symbol back then. A cell phone would attract attention, but as a witch unfamiliar with such things, she has no idea. It would be cool. It would be really cool. Here I am, imagining the possibility. She's just holding a handkerchief, doing this. A fan's heart gets blurry, right, man? I think those are all the details that came out. I want to do an analysis of the colors later. Make a well-researched script, analyzing the psychology of the colors behind these costumes.
Because for sure they use that.
For sure. Come on, the costume designer isn't clueless. She just won the Oscar for Poor Things, you know? She's not clueless at all. She knows exactly what she's doing, and they use this visual communication through colors a lot. I want to do an episode analyzing that. But of course, that needs a lot of research, a lot of care, a lot of study. This here is more, you know, the news right there. It came out instantly, watching it in real time. Really cool. Man, I want that Chandler Cannon's t-shirt, dude. I won't rest until they start selling that t-shirt, okay? I'm just saying. By the way, protest. All the Quidditch teams should have t-shirts for sale.
I'm just saying. So, tell me, what did you think of the footage? What do you think so far? Did you like the Weasleys' costumes?
Are you excited for the series? With all respect to my wife, Mrs. Weasley looks really great.
Ron is really cute, right? Look, he and Ginny are adorable. And what about Fred and George?
They have that natural mischievous look, you know? They look like they're little troublemakers, you know? Biribinha, it means firecracker, not Espoleto. Espoleto is food, man. I keep looking at the photos, trying to catch some detail that I might have missed, but I don't think I missed anything.
This backpack belongs to Fred and Jorge, the actors. They're wearing black clothes over it, showing it's their personal backpack.
One detail, I didn't see Percy, right?
Percy isn't visible in these photos, even though he's in the scene. So, what will they do now? Will the actor film later? Because I think it's hard, right, to have just him there filming. Maybe him crossing the platform alone, since he goes first. Because of his schedule, he couldn't make it. I don't know how it works. I just think they make the schedule there.
He's filming multiple series. There's no other time. Unless it's for medical reasons, I don't know. Anyway, Percy isn't there. Harry isn't in these photos either.
Dominique McLaughlin isn't in these photos. He was only seen from behind in one yesterday. So, like, where are they? Where are they? We don't know. Come on, Harry Potter series. We're super anxious, my friends. Bring it on.